games this weekend. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. I'm Delaney Ruth. This is your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. A former Chillicothe High School principal is set to be released from prison as of yesterday. Jeff Fisher offered an apology to the community and the victims during the hearing and admitted his offenses. Fisher was sentenced in January of last year to 2 years in prison and a $2,000 fine. He was sentenced on sexual battery charges after there were rumors that he had sex with a student. The judge also ordered him to complete a high-risk sex offender program that will run for 1 to 2 years, according to the Chillicothe Gazette. A grand jury filed new charges today against suspended Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder. The Columbus Dispatch reports that the charges include engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity, theft in office, and tampering with evidence. This indictment updates a series of charges filed against him last June. 2 Athens County Treasurer candidates spoke to the Nelsonville community members about their ideas for the position during a forum yesterday. Current county
It's long-term goals. You know, it's long-term gains. You're not trying to solve it all right off the bat. And you know, I think the ultimate goal is you're trying to put the land bank out of business.
Current County Treasurer Rick Wasserman and Athens City Councilman Peter Kotsis answered questions and explained their policies at the Nelsonville Public Library. The event was put on by the League of Women Voters of Athens County in the hopes of educating citizens about candidates in the upcoming election. 4 local fire departments will get a funding boost from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. The ODNR approved funding for 65 rural communities in the state that was made available by Ohio's Volunteer Fire Assistance Program. The VFA supports rural fire departments that serve communities with less than 10,000 people. Locally, the money will help the fire departments in Pomeroy, Syracuse, Waterloo, and Zaleski. The homicide suspect in Columbus is dead after a police shooting yesterday evening. Columbus police confronted 17-year-old Joseph Jewell at a motel on the city's north side. Police say when they knocked on the door and announced their presence, Jewell opened the door and began shooting at officers. Police fired back and hit Jewell, who died at Riverside Methodist Hospital. Jewell was a suspect in the shooting death of another 17-year-old. 2 former Ohio State football players were indicted Friday on charges of rape and kidnapping. Franklin County Prosecutor Ron O'Brien says Amir Reep and Jason Wint, both 21, invited the victim to their house on February 4th to watch a movie. Later that evening, Reep and Wint allegedly restrained the victim and forced her to have sex with them. Both men faced 2 counts of rape and 1 count of kidnapping. OSU head coach Ryan Day dismissed them from the football team less than 24 hours after they were arrested, according to NBC4 Columbus. A Cleveland area priest faced new charges, including sex trafficking involving a minor, after already being arrested in December. A criminal complaint filed today also charged Reverend Robert McWilliams with receiving or distributing child pornography and sexual exploitation of children. Investigators say McWilliams would pretend to be a female on social media, then entice boys to send sexually explicit photographs and videos. McWilliams already pleaded not guilty to 21 counts of child pornography-related charges in January.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Well, it was very, very chilly today. Lows this morning, were in the upper 20s and lower 30s. We saw some teens out there as well. Still pretty chilly out there right now. 34 is the current high. Humidity is low at 36%. We have an area of high pressure overhead, which is why the pressure is so high, and the winds are out of the west-southwest at 5 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures generally in the lower and middle 30s. 34 in Columbus, 37 the warm spot. Down in Ironton, 34 in Jackson, 34 as well here in Athens. All under clear skies, and those clear skies are going to continue tonight and make way for another very chilly night. Temperatures could drop into the upper teens in some areas later tonight. We will warm you up over the next couple of days, however, and we have a very up and down next week. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes. But Delaney, it looks like finally we're going to see some warmer weather, later on this weekend.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad. Thank you so much, Nick.
Definitely.
School resource officers in Kentucky are now required to carry guns. Governor Andy Beshear signed a bill on Friday that is a follow-up to last year's sweeping school safety law. In 2018, two 15-year-old students were killed and more than a dozen were injured when another student opened fire at a Western Kentucky high school. The bill passed in the Kentucky House and Senate with bipartisan support. Dozens of malnourished Ashland County dogs have been turned over to a humane society. 46 dogs were surrendered by their owners Wednesday. The dogs range in age and breed, but they were all severely malnourished. Some of the dogs had large patches of fur missing and their rib cages visibly stuck out. The director of the Ashland County Humane Society in Ohio said lawmakers should find a way to limit the number of dogs allowed on a property. It is too early to tell if charges will be filed. 2 people have died after they inhaled chemical fumes at a trucking company in Cleveland. Fire officials say one worker was cleaning her tanker when she became overwhelmed by the fumes and collapsed. Another worker tried to help her and he also lost consciousness. The pair were taken to a Cleveland hospital where they later died. The victims were identified as 30-year-old Ashley Friedman and 60-year-old Alan Linder. A body has been found near downtown Cleveland. Police say the body was dismembered and burned so badly they were unable to determine the gender of the victim. The body was on fire when police discovered it Wednesday in a grassy, secluded area several miles northeast of downtown. Police will not discuss further details due to the gruesome way the body was found. Homicide investigators said that Cleveland police have previously found burnt-out cars in the same area. A fire has broken out at an eastern Kentucky prison. Governor Andy Beshear says that the fire forced authorities to relocate about 500 inmates. He says no injuries have been reported from the fire at the medium security facility in Morgan County. Authorities believe the cause was mechanical in nature and the inmates were moved to a gymnasium on the prison grounds. An Ohio group has filed a petition for a constitutional amendment that would set term limits on legislators serving in the Ohio House or Senate. Ohioans for Legislative Term Limits proposed a 16-year limit for lawmakers. The group says the current law allows legislators to move back and forth after reaching 8-year limits in each chamber. The group aims to place the amendment on the November 3rd ballot. Kentucky legislators are one step closer to legalizing medical marijuana. The House of Representatives approved a bill 65-30 Thursday after a long debate. Under the bill, doctors would be allowed to prescribe cannabis, and patients could buy it at registered dispensaries. The bill does not permit patients to smoke medical cannabis. Instead, patients could use cannabis pills or oils. This measure now heads to the state Senate. Advocates of medical cannabis in the Bluegrass state have been pushing for legislation for years. A Kennedy House committee advanced a bill that would allow voters to decide if the state constitution should protect abortion rights. According to WLKY, House Bill 67 calls for a referendum on adding anti-abortion language to the state constitution. The bill will go on to the full House of Representatives for a vote. If it passes, Kentucky voters would see it on the ballot this fall. The Weinstein jury is yet to come to a decision, and there are suspicions of Russian interference in the 2020 election. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Sleep. Everybody does it. But why do we need it?
Sleep remains a mystery.
Now, Nova explores its secrets and power.
We find that the brain is just as active when we're asleep as when we're awake.
Optimizing learning.
Are you ready?
Yeah! Memory.
Beautiful.
And fighting disease.
You're trying to boost those brainwaves.
The mysteries of sleep on Nova.
Vast, frozen, barren. This is no place to be a lone wolf. Here, prey are fierce and 5 times your size. But the biggest challenge of all, your competition. To succeed, you need family, a pack, where the bonds of love and loyalty are strong. Because here, strength in numbers is the only way to survive.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, imagine the excitement surrounding these iconic 20th century treasures.
This is the Ark of the Covenant that was used as a prototype in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I just can't tell you how excited I am.
When it comes to Golden Age comics, anything of this vintage is going to be incredibly hard to find in a high grade.
Discover more next time on Antiques Roadshow from the Crocker Art Museum in Sacramento, California.
That's unbelievable.
On Finding Your Roots, journalists Soledad O'Brien,
Think we found the bad leg of the family here.
Lisa Ling,
My grandfather was known as the Black Dragon.
and actor Laura Linney.
Wow.
Ancestors,
He might have been akin to a gangster at the time, is what I've heard.
lawbreakers,
What did he do?
and criminals.
I am so embarrassed. That's terrible.
Finding Your Roots.
Their intelligence is that Russia is interfering or attempting to interfere in the 2020 election with the goal of re-electing President Trump.
Last week, lawmakers were told Russia is hacking and attacking U.S. election infrastructure, according to one source familiar with the matter.
This angered Republicans on the committee who pushed back, and when the president learned about this briefing, he was very upset.
A source says President Trump was frustrated that House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff had been allowed to attend the hearing. The California Democrat tweeting Thursday that if President Trump is interfering with the intelligence reports to Congress, he is jeopardizing our efforts to stop foreign meddling. Despite findings from U.S. intelligence, which echo warnings from last summer,
the Russians are absolutely intent on trying to interfere with our elections.
President Trump has repeatedly rejected the idea of Russia's influence on U.S. politics.
You know who got me elected? I got me elected. Russia didn't help me at all. I call it the Russian hoax. It's a hoax.
Democratic critics are calling on the GOP to address the situation.
Take that backbone and speak to this president and say, this is enough. It's enough.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The jury in the Harvey Weinstein trial is struggling to reach a unanimous verdict on all counts. After 4 days of deliberations, the jurors appear unable to render decisions on the most serious charges. On other counts, they seem to be in agreement. They sent a note to Judge James Burke asking whether they can be hung on some counts. James said they should keep trying to reach a complete consensus. Defense attorneys say they'll accept a partial verdict. Prosecutors say they won't. The jury is done deliberating for the week. They will be back Monday morning to resume. Weinstein also faces other charges in California. Coronavirus is impacting the global airline industry's bottom line. The International Air Transport Authority warns that airlines could lose more than $29 billion, with Asian carriers bearing the brunt of that. The outbreak will likely reduce air traffic by 4.7%, marking the first overall decline in demand in more than a decade. The coronavirus has killed more than 2,000 people, most of them in mainland China. Because of that, dozens of airlines have canceled or reduced services to the country. Carbon monoxide is a silent, colorless killer. Learn how to protect your home? That story is still ahead.
And weather-wise, it was fairly chilly today, but that's all about to change as a warm-up is in store for the weekend and to begin next week. But I'll talk about up and down temperatures and the chance of rain all coming up in my full forecast. But first, a look at stocks of local interest.
Black colleges were redefining what it meant to be black in America.
Laws existed that prevented African Americans from learning how to read.
Who gonna control our education? Who we gonna let white folks control it or black people?
Despite the violence and intimidation, the black colleges survived.
Black people were in charge.
If you come here, you will find something you won't find anyplace else.
Tell them we are rising.
this month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
How do you split up nicely from a girlfriend?
We should talk about life.
All of our ceremonies illustrate connectedness with all of creation.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
From PBS, explore our culture through stories of food,
delicious,
family, and tradition. With a new season of No Passport Required.
Food's a path to culture, identity, and history.
And the premieres of Somewhere South.
I can smell that you've been cooking. This is delicious.
And Good Gumbo.
It's a secret recipe. I'm not going to pull it out of you. I know your mom would probably kill me, huh?
Discover what connects us all and so much more on PBS and the PBS Video app.
That's unbelievable.
On Finding Your Roots, journalists Soledad O'Brien,
Think we found the bad leg of the family here.
Lisa Ling,
My grandfather was known as the Black Dragon.
and actor Laura Linney.
Wow.
Ancestors,
He might have been akin to a gangster at the time, is what I've heard.
lawbreakers,
What did he do?
and criminals.
I am so embarrassed. It's terrible.
Finding Your Roots.
Welcome back. I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder, where we're not seeing much clouds over the area due to a very strong area of high pressure that's centered off to our south and west. We could actually see the snowpack on this satellite imagery, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool things you could see with the satellite imagery. And again, we have a high pressure centered off to our south and west. Large dip in the polar jet stream as well. That's what caused all those cold temperatures. That Arctic high is what we call it. It's a cold core high, which means it's associated with cooler temperatures. And there's that high pressure right there. It's going to remain overhead at least for the next 24 hours as we see cold high pressure will continue to dominate. We'll have a southwest wind tonight at 5 to 10 miles an hour. The winds will increase as we go throughout the night, and we'll have stable air keeping clouds away. So we're going to have that sinking motion, and you can see that on this temperature and cloud coverage graph. The most cloud coverage we'll have is about 2%. That's about at 8 p.m. Temperatures will decrease as we go throughout the night into the lower 20s as the outgoing solar radiation goes out to space and we cool you down. And with those wind chills up here, we'll have higher winds due to a stronger pressure gradient. We'll have wind chills in the upper teens and lower 20s. It'll be a little bit less of a wind chill further south due to slower winds, but up north you could see those cooler wind chills again into the lower teens and upper 20s. Upper teens and lower 20s. Tonight will be the low of 21. Make sure you bundled up. It'll be clear, however. Winds will be out of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wind speeds will increase as we go throughout the night. Temperatures across the area will generally be in the upper teens and lower 20s. 18 in Columbus, 24 down in Ironton, 24 in Ripley as well. 25 the warm spot down in Jackson. Again, clear skies just about wherever you go due to that high pressure. And that high pressure will remain overhead. It'll actually go off to our south and east as we go through tomorrow, and that'll promote southerly flow and really warm us up as we go throughout the day tomorrow. 49 will be the high. We only saw highs in the upper 30s today. We're going to see highs in the upper 40s tomorrow. It'll be breezy further north, but much warmer tomorrow than what we saw today. Still beautiful sunny skies. It'll be a great day to go out and about tomorrow to get anything you need to get done. Just gorgeous. Watch out for gusty winds, especially further north at 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the west. Across the area, highs generally in the upper 40s and lower 50s, all under clear skies. That high pressure will move off to the east. We get a warm front coming in, and then we're in for an active week. We get a taste of nice weather, but as we go throughout next week, very active. Up and down temps and lots of precip as we go throughout the week. And here's one of the systems coming through. This is a deep dip in the jet stream. That's going to keep colder temperatures coming back later on next week as we see the 7-day temperature averages right here. 3 degrees above average tomorrow, 8 degrees above average Sunday, and we drop you below average on Monday before we have another storm coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday with rain chances, and we drop you down below average again to end next week with watch out for a couple of snow chances as well. 10-day air masses were cool now. We remain a little bit warmer. Here's our storm coming in for Wednesday, and then next Saturday we really cool you down in the extended forecast. A lot warmer on Tuesday before cooling you back into the 30s by Friday. Delaney?
Looking forward to that warmer weekend. Thanks, Nicholas. It's a hidden danger in our homes. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. Every year, over 400 people die in the U.S. from accidental poisoning. These cold winter months, you could end up a victim if you don't take steps to keep your family safe. Meredith Wood has the details in today's Health Minute.
If you lose electricity during severe winter weather, be careful using alternative sources of power or heat. Carbon monoxide can build up in a home and can be life-threatening. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says at least 430 people die in the U.S. from accidental carbon monoxide poisoning every year, and almost 50,000 visit the emergency room. The gas fumes can come from chimneys, portable generators, stoves, lanterns, gas ranges, or by burning charcoal and wood inside the home. To protect yourself and family, make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector in your home. Change the batteries every 6 months. Make sure you have your heating system and any appliances fueled by gas, oil, or coal checked by a licensed technician every year. Don't leave a vehicle motor running in an enclosed space or within 20 feet of a vent or window in your home. And never run a generator or gasoline-powered engine inside, even if the windows or doors are open. The most common symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are headache, dizziness, weakness, nausea, vomiting, chest pain, and confusion. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
The Ohio men's and women's basketball teams are on the road this weekend, looking to finish the regular season on a high note. Find out who they're preparing for and more when Newswatch returns.
Vast, frozen, barren. This is no place to be a lone wolf. Here, prey are fierce and 5 times your size. But the biggest challenge of all, your competition. To succeed, you need family, a pack, where the bonds of love and loyalty are strong. Because here, strength in numbers is the only way to survive.
On expedition.
I'm with an expert team pushing deep into South America's pristine jungle.
This is the middle of nowhere.
To find a lost world never before seen by human eyes.
What do you think? We're completely on our own. It looks pretty intimidating.
What's your rule?
It's incredible. These places are absolute treasures, and we have to do everything we can to protect them.
We came here looking for lost worlds. We found one.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
How do you split up nicely from a girlfriend?
We should talk about life.
All of our ceremonies illustrate connectedness with all of creation.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
Sleep. Everybody does it. But why do we need it?
Sleep remains a mystery.
Now, Nova explores its secrets and power.
We find that the brain is just as active when we're asleep as when we're awake.
Optimizing learning.
Are you ready? Yeah!
Memory.
Beautiful.
And fighting disease.
You're trying to boost those brainwaves.
The mysteries of sleep on Nova.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Curtis Fader. The Ohio women's basketball team has been red hot lately, winning 8 of their last 9 games and continuing to look for winning ways as they are on their home stretch with just 5 games left in the regular season. First, they must travel to take on Akron this Saturday. The two teams faced off less than a month ago, with the Bobcats winning decisively by 13 points. The Zips are starting to find their stride as they have won their last 2 MAC games to put themselves in 3rd place in the MAC East. The Bobcats' high-powered offense, led by Erica Johnson and Cece Hooks, are scoring a blistering 73.8 points per game this season. Meanwhile, coming off of an impressive victory against Central Michigan on Tuesday, the Ohio men's basketball team have gone on a little streak of their own, winning 3 of their last 4 games. They now have a tough test ahead of them as they must go on to face Bowling Green, who is currently tied for having the best record in the conference. For high school basketball teams everywhere, there's one word that never fails to get them motivated, and that word is playoffs. This week, the playoff push continues for the girls, and now the boys, with drama and action at every turn. On Thursday night, the Vinton County Lady Vikings went to Southeastern High School to battle the Union Oto Shermans with a spot in the district finals on the line. The Lady Vikings defeated their playoff foe earlier in the season, and they came out trying to get the same result this time around. When I say this matchup was a fight to the finish, I truly mean it. There were 3 technicals dished out in this one for a Union Oto player, and the other 2 dished out for both head coaches towards the beginning of the game. On top of that, 2 fans were ejected from the gym. To say that tensions were high in this game is an understatement. In this game, Vinton County was a well-oiled machine, playing textbook offense and electrifying defense. This game was a battle to say the least, and they were up for the challenge. In the end, the Lady Vikings moved on as they win 53-46 and will face the number 1 seed Circleville Tigers in the district finals on Wednesday. Vinton County girls head coach Rod Bentley talks about the mentality of his squad and how the team came out on top in this slugfest.
Hard, so it was a good game over there, and we're comfortable in that environment. I mean, we talk about being Viking tough, and that's what we feel like we are. So that's just another day in the park for us. We enjoy those type of games.
As WOUB sports reporter Dylan Thompson said yesterday, the Ohio softball team is heading to Charleston, South Carolina for a 5-game outing this weekend. But meanwhile, a couple hours up the road, the Ohio baseball team is starting a 3-game stand against St. Louis in Lexington, South Carolina. The Bobcats are coming into this weekend feeling good after winning their first series of the season against North Alabama, 3-1. The highlight of this week is when junior relief pitcher Brett Manis won Pitcher of the Week for his contributions against North Alabama. Now, he had the most saves in the MAC last season, and he will be a key contributor coming forward this season for the Bobcats. With high school sports ramping up in the playoffs and the regular season winding down for the Bobcats, this is going to be a really great time to be a sports fan in Southeast Ohio.
Definitely. I love how pumped all the Southeastern Ohio sports fan gets. It's fun to be a part of. Thanks so much, Curtis.
Thank you.
Nabisco has had a lot of success with its flavored Oreo releases, but the Supreme Oreo is generating a much more pricey buzz. According to Bloomberg, some small sleeves of Supreme Oreos garnered bids of up to $4,000 on eBay this week. Some listings are for far less. The buzz is thanks to the streetwear brand Supreme, which is known for limited edition collections that fetch high resale prices. Supreme's Spring-Summer 2020 drop featured not only attire but also double-stuffed Oreos in the brand's signature bright red. It's rumored that 3 cookie packs retail for $8, but right now you can get them at Supreme or pay big bucks to someone reselling them online.
49 will be the high tomorrow. It will be breezy for the north as there will be a stronger pressure gradient up there. Much warmer tomorrow than what we saw today as well. Winds will be out of the west at 10 to 15 miles an hour. It'll be a beautiful day. If you have any outdoor plans tomorrow is the day to do it with abundant sunshine just about wherever you go in the WOUB viewing area. 47 will be the high in Columbus, 48 in Chillicothe, 48 in Jackson. 50 will be the warm spot down in Ironton. Again, just a gorgeous day. Here's that extended forecast. 44 on Monday with rain showers likely. 59 on Tuesday. We warm you up before cooling you down to end next week. Delaney?
Thanks, Nicholas. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Delaney Ruth. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
What's up, Hardwood fans? I'm your host, Sam Wiesneth, here with my co-host, T. Willis. T, what's going on with the high school basketball world this week?
Sam, the word of the week is playoffs. The girls are rolling full steam ahead into week 2 of the playoffs, and the boys are right behind in TVC. They'll be starting their playoff run